after you've seen this, you decided that I've watched way too much Food Network. What can I say? So, today we're going to be making lasagna. And we're going to start, of course, with the meat of the lasagna. A lot of people will choose to use hamburger meat. I think hamburger meat's kind of boring, personally. And Rayleigh's had a sale on sausage. So, we're going to be making lasagna out of sausage. I'd suggest before any of you guys try this to de-thaw your sausage first, because otherwise you will end up with a block of sausage. That doesn't work really well, but I'm experienced. It will work out. So we're going to warm up the sausage in the pot, pan, and let that thaw out. Normally while that was happening, I would be getting all my ingredients out, but I came prepared. I already have everything out that I will need. So everything else is going to be going in their lasagna. Sliced crimini mushrooms, black olives. I have a whole bowl of them. We probably will only use half of these, but I really like olives, so I'm going to be eating them while I'm making the lasagna. Half of an onion, you can use more than half. I don't really like a whole lot of onion in my stuff because I feel like it overpowers things. And you can use any kind of tomato you want, probably not cherry tomatoes though. These are a little bit bigger. I got them at a farmer's market, and yeah, I like them. They taste really good. So while the sausage is getting itself worked out, if you are using frozen sausage, keep it only on half heat so it doesn't like burn on the bottom, and just kind of keep an eye on it. You will also need to start cutting up your other stuff. So your onions and your tomatoes. I would say just dice the tomatoes, since they end up usually, and whenever you cook tomatoes, they'll get really small because all the water will cook out of them. So keep them kind of big because you want to be able to taste them and see them. And, I don't know, I like chunky lasagna. If you want them smaller, go ahead and make them smaller. If you don't want them at all, that's cool too. This is the apron I got from my husband. He doesn't ever use it, so I'm using it. You probably see on Food Network that they have like these little garbage bowls. It's really a waste of bowl. Just go to your trash can, throw out the tomatoes. Even better would be having a compost pile, but I don't have one. So, yeah. Because I live in a rental. After that. Still frozen solid, so we're just going to kind of put a little water in there so that it doesn't burn. The nice thing about using drinking glasses for water instead of like a measuring cup is that you can take a sip when you're thirsty. Normally I'd be cooking with wine. We only have one white wine, and I wanted that for dinner. So, there you go. We also have some Martinelli's cider here, but I had that for breakfast. And it's non-alcoholic, and I don't feel like it. With onions, when you dice them up, you just want to make sure that you get all the skin off first. Because the skin doesn't taste very good. It's just hard and dry and kind of boring. And then, for a lasagna, like I said, onions can really overpower things, I feel. I think that you can really chop them very thinly, and they go better than in the meat than they really mix in instead of being big chunky onions. Probably people would disagree. Like I said, honestly, you can cut them any way you want. You can make them big, you can make them small. Just, cut them up. Just kind of, I'm really haphazard about stuff usually with cutting up vegetables because, I don't know, like you can make it really delicate. You can use a big old butcher knife and do it really neatly. I do know a really cool technique with knives, but I'll show that later. Not today. Don't feel like it. Cutting up onions. Also makes me really teary-eyed. Normally I'd get my husband to do this, but he's on an important business call, so I'm doing it myself. Sorry if I start crying. It's just the way it goes. I know this is a weird camera angle, but this is my kitchen, other than the refrigerator, which is over there, and the sink, which actually isn't full of dirty dishes right now, which is good. So, sausage is going well, and not burning, still frozen in the middle. Yeah, really, I'm a bad cleaner, so, for you guys out there, make sure you take your meat out before you start cooking with it. It's going fine for me, but it's honestly, it's just a pain in the butt, because I could have already been halfway done, and I'm not even close, because the sausage is taking forever, and it's still halfway frozen. Awesome. Okay, water's not doing it. Harp lager, very good. Totally yummy. I recently found out that I like lager. I never liked beer. I went to Germany, and I was there for 6 months, and I didn't like beer. And then I come home, and I marry my husband, and he kind of likes beer. And we found this stuff. I was in Germany. I saw this stuff, but I didn't trust it because it was beer. But I love it. You should love it too. Okay. Sausage is going. I'm going to have to drain off the water before we put the mushrooms in. What you want with mushrooms is, you want space, kind of, to saute them or cook them or brown them or soften them up. Oh, they're good. And so, sorry, hang on. So you can cook them with the sausage because then all the sausage meat gets, or sausage smell and flavor gets in with the mushrooms. So that's totally great. But you don't want a lot of water because then your mushrooms just become soggy lumps of mushroom and not really like crispy, kind of yummy cooked mushrooms, sauteed mushrooms. So yeah, we're draining the sausage after it's, well, it's kind of thawed out now. So we're going to do that right now. Break time. Okay. If your sausage is thawed out, or if you started with thawed out sausage and it's nice and raw, you can turn the heat up a bit so that it gets kind of, you want it nice and brown. You don't really want gray sausage, you really want brown sausage. It brings out some of the flavor, it's really salty and good, it should be anyway. And once your sausage is mostly done, you can have a few pink spots in it, just because you're going to be cooking it a little bit longer. Stick in both your onions and your mushrooms, but leave the tomatoes out, don't do the tomatoes yet. Because like I say, you cook tomatoes too long, and they get to be these little small, you know, they're practically like stewed tomatoes. It's just not very good. It doesn't really work out very well. I like my tomatoes as fresh as they can possibly be and still be cooked, unless I'm putting them into an actual sauce. And with this lasagna, we're using canned tomato sauce, and then we're putting just fresh tomatoes in to make it seem a little more homemade. Just kind of cheating, but I don't really care. I'm trying to do this a little bit fast because it's already 6:30, and I'm usually closer to done than this at this time. So, canned tomato sauce. It's your friend. You can use as many or as little mushrooms as you want. I really love mushrooms, but they can make this lasagna really chunky if you don't cut them up. And I didn't cut them up, as you saw. I just kind of put them in. They're already sliced, but I didn't chop them any finer. I don't know why. I was lazy. Whatever. So I'm just going to let that simmer a little bit and cook all together and get lovely juices going. You can add a little bit of seasoning because the onions and the mushrooms aren't really seasoned, so you might want to add, you know, you can add oregano, you can put in some garlic salt if you have it. Celery salt is this really cool stuff. It's basically celery and salt, I think, yes. It smells really good. It is weird because I haven't really heard of it being used very often. I don't really know why, because I really love it. I think it just adds kind of an interesting thing to a lot of dishes. I have fresh oregano down in my